This is Lifter's Log, March 30th. It's about 1:47 p.m. in the afternoon, and it's been an interesting week. There's a lot going on in the world, and this seclusion on Planet Powerlifting has taken an even more intense turn to the point where now I'm unable to train in the usual facility, and I've had to move some of my equipment into my domicile, and pretty much foregoing all social contact at this point, as are, I would say, most of the people on the planet. So it's an interesting time. I'll try to get into that a little bit, but let's go through the week first. My day one, went in and hit some comp squats, doing a bit of a hypertrophy block, basically training for North Americans as if North Americans is still happening. Who knows if it will or not, but worked up to 245 kilos for a set of 5 on my squats. Hip was acting a fool. It wasn't ideal, but honestly, the hip being flared up this sort of close after a competition is pretty much so expected that it doesn't faze me at this point. I'm pretty used to going in knowing that my hip's going to bother me a little bit for a week or two, and then we'll be right back on track, so I'm not too worried about that. Bench started off at a decent spot, worked up to 165 kilos for a triple. It was about as challenging as it should have been. I think about an 8.5 RPE, and I was pretty happy with that. So that was good. That day was really good to be able to return to training, to be able to do the things that help ground me and make me feel like myself. So I know obviously there's a lot of people that don't have gym equipment, that can't train as normal right now, so I'm very grateful to be able to put in the work that I can and do basically what I do regardless. Day 2 was competition deadlifts. Managed a triple at 310 kilos. Again, the hip was kind of bugging me, so my lockouts aren't great. The weight felt really light, but I was also trying to set it down relatively gently. As I said, I'm in a building with other people, so luckily we're in the basement, and or the rack and setup is in the basement anyways. And we got some horse stall mats and built a little bit of a platform to try to dampen some of the noise. So that was a little bit weird. It'll take some getting used to try to set things down gently and not be put off by the fact that, you know, I might be using a little bit of an eccentric tempo. Did some seated overhead press this day, which is something I haven't done, at least out of a rack like this, so that was a bit interesting to maneuver. And finished with some high bar squats, sets of 8, and those I was not able to push nearly as high in load as I thought I was going to be able to, but happy to be able to bang those out and get some damn good work for the quads in. And the hip didn't bother me too much on those, so that was also great. Now my third day of the week was basically split squats and some bodybuilder upper back stuff. Fandangled or MacGyvered some pull-ups on my ER rack, just putting the bar up pretty high, using my feet to assist me. Did some pendlay rows, and this was a really tough day for me, not because of the training, but because I just kind of got to a head all these feelings of lethargy and uselessness and just feeling like crap about not doing anything, not leaving the house, not going anywhere. And yes, I think that I'm lucky to be able to train, but and as important as perspective is to have in terms of other people's situations, I think that everybody's kind of going through it right now. And I think that if you're feeling that way, just because you have a job or you have things doesn't mean that you can't feel crappy about this situation. It doesn't illegitimize your feelings. If I can wax philosophical for a second and give you even a small piece of advice, it's that find the little things that do bring you a little bit of joy. Training for me is one of those things, but on this day, even that wasn't enough. I came upstairs and my dog greeted me at the door, and that just absolutely made my day for whatever reason. So what I did was I leaned into that. I took him for a walk. We went and played. I spent a lot of time just hanging out with my dog. And if you come across little things like that throughout your day, just lean in. Go to the place that makes you feel a little bit better. Do those things that make you feel a little bit brighter, and lean into that when you catch even just the slightest bit of, oh, this is making me smile, this is making me a little bit happier. So anyways, that's my bit of advice for that. My day 4 this week took the camera through a little bit of a gym tour, which honestly isn't much of a gym, but that's my surroundings at this point. So this is the place. This is where it all happens. You can see behind me there, I've got an Alico bar, which I'm pretty happy with. Focus. There we go. 392 kilos worth of plates. This is our deadlift platform. It's just 2 3/4 inch thick horse stall mats. We got the carpet, and then under the carpet is some plywood. And that's it. So this will be where it's all getting done for now. Sorry about the shitty audio, but I figured I'd document what's going on down here, what this is all set up like. It's literally just the basement of my condo building. So people go do their laundry over there, they leave their bikes there, and all this space over here gets used for literally nothing. So condo board was kind enough to let me use it. I had a pretty bro-y day that day. It felt really good actually, working up to some touch and go 12s. Did some 3-board close grip myo reps, which is basically just a rest pause training, set of 12 rack, and then as many more sets with 5 or 6 breaths in between until I get to 3 to 10, I think was the protocol. But anyways, that makes for a very substantial pump. And then timed sort of max number of lifts on a half kneeling landmine press, which I just stuffed the bar in the corner of my rack and went for it. That was a movement I really liked. So if there's anybody watching this who is in a similar situation and has a bar in a corner, go ahead and use that movement. It's a great one. As for how things will progress, it's impossible to say at this point. How long this will last, again, I don't think anybody really knows. Gonna continue to train as if there will be a competition in July, because I'm not really sure how else to live or how else to direct myself. So until further notice, we will continue as planned, try to be optimistic, and I'll be back here again next week.